So, this is my grimoire, a book of rituals, charms and divination. I see it as a working book. As such, it's not a finished product, and that's not the aim for me, is not to make like a finished product. It's to be able to work in this and for it to be useful for me, so I can scribble my ideas and jot down some notes and record my experiences basically. So it does have decorative elements. I like to have fun painting and drawing in the book, but the aim isn't to make it something decorative to show to other people. It's more that the images inside are for my own use and my own benefit, basically, to help me clarify some ideas and explore them visually. So the first page, I have a little description of what the book is, a little image that I painted, and then I've got my Wheel of the Year, which is my way of understanding the astrological significance of the seasons. And for me, this diagram really helps because it took me a very long time to get to grips with Western astrology and what it is all about. And I avoided it for a very long time because I thought it was too complicated. I thought there was too much maths involved, and I could never figure it out, and I just thought it was like just nonsensical. I couldn't figure out what it was all about, but gradually over the years I started to make sense of it with little diagrams like this to help me understand that basically it's a lot simpler than I ever thought, and all the zodiac signs are basically just ways to divide the solar year into 12 parts. So then I've got a little picture of the constellations and a little table of all the astrological signs and how they work in different systems of astrology, and the dates for each of those signs and how they relate to the constellations. So the next page I have my birth chart, which helps me understand what the different planets and signs mean to me. And I've got a little description of what the different planets symbolize. And to me, astrology is a study of nature, looking at the planets, the stars and the moon, and understanding what those symbols mean personally. So the next page I've got the moon phases and some information, ideas, bit of a brainstorm basically on what the moon symbolizes, and some history and folklore about the moon, and just looking into how I relate to those phases, and understanding how to work with the moon phases basically. And moving on to the next page, I've got the elements, the 5 elements and what they mean to me, and also I have the Morgans on the other page, the 8 Morgans surrounding the British Isles, and some information about what that means to me basically. And then I move into each astrological sign, so starting with Capricorn, which is where we are now. We're in the sign of Capricorn, and I've got like little words, like keywords, to go into detail about what Capricorn means to me, and also some folklore and stuff about the symbolism of the goat and why that is linked to this time of year. So information from various different sort of cultures as well, talking about the goat. And then some more folklore here, talking about the man in black, and Norse mythology, and lots of stuff about crows. I've got my little pictures of crows and different birds. Helps me identify the different birds. For me, my spirituality is very much connected with nature, understanding nature, studying nature. And the next page here, I've got so many notes and things about basically the worlds, traveling to the other worlds, what that means to me. Basically shifting your consciousness and exploring like the dream world, the subconscious, and trying to sort of communicate that through this image of Glastonbury tour. And then I just sort of scribble down all different kind of keywords and things that will help me explore this idea, and the mythology and the folklore, and to do with witchcraft and traveling, journeying, and the tree, the world tree that connects the realms, and some information about that. And then I go into the sign of Aquarius, and again lots of little sort of keywords about what Aquarius means to me and this time of year, and the mythology and folklore connected to this. So I've got here Imbolc and my Imbolc ritual, which is just a very, very simple little ritual, step by step. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps, and just a really simple little ritual. And then I go into some history and mythology and cultures and how they spread. I'm really interested in Indo-European paganism in general, and I look at Hinduism as a really key factor to understanding those ancient religions that existed in Europe. So I've got here some information about the Indus Valley civilization, the development of Hinduism, and one of my favourite texts, the Devi Mahatmyam, which I just find really inspiring. And then also some information about the Romani gypsies and how Hinduism was sort of carried through that culture. So my next page, I go into some more details about Indo-European culture and how that developed in like the history side of things and the Stone Age era, and I just find it really useful for me to understand how people used to live in the Stone Age, in the Neolithic, because it kind of gives me an idea of how the future could be for humanity when we gradually move away from the current culture. And then I've got some divination techniques here about using shells for divination. And then the next page, I've got some history and folklore and stuff about Slavic culture, Slavic paganism, and this little map helps me understand how people migrated and travelled across Europe and the spread of cultures. I just find really interesting how people have mixed and migrated and shared ideas over the centuries. So it reminds me that no culture has grown in isolation. They're always side by side, sharing their ideas, travelling, exchanging, trading, and developing together. So the next page I have some more history about the most sort of ancient people, of how they travelled out of Africa and gradually spread across Europe and Asia, and gradually over that bridge to the Americas. And it just reminds me that all people are connected. All humans on the planet are one big family. Ancestry is a really important part of my spirituality, because the ancestors are the ones who made us. You know, they physically created us, they passed on their genes to us, and their experiences are encoded in those genes, and they have experienced so many eras of humanity, and so many different climates and so many different ways of life that we can learn from. So that's what this page is all about. And moving to the next page, I have some more history about sacred space and about ancient megaliths, stone circles, why they were created by our ancient ancestors, and what sacred space means to me as a way to connect to nature. Drawing the sacred circle as a temple, as a way of aligning yourself with the 4 directions and understanding your place on this planet, because no matter where you are in the world, you can align yourself with those 4 directions and understand where the sun rises and sets, the moon rise and set, and realizing that we're on this planet revolving around the sun. My next page is about the sign of Pisces, what that means to me, and going into some more details about the astrological ages, the age of Pisces, as well as a little bit of history of the background of Christianity. And then I've got Hermeticism, and lots of bits and pieces about Hermetic philosophy and how that was a huge influence on modern paganism and occultism as well. And even in Christianity, actually, it was sort of interwoven. A lot of the ideas were sort of breaching a gap between paganism and Christianity. The next page, I go into details about the mystery religions, mysticism, and a particular one, the mysteries of Isis. So here I've got one of my favourite texts, the Metamorphoses of Apuleius, written in the 2nd century CE. I love this text because of the description of Isis, who I've painted here. This is my little interpretation based on the text of Apuleius. And then the next page, I have some information about the spring equinox and the mythology from various different cultures, just gathering some ideas. Also talking a little bit about Christianity and how the Christian Easter developed, linked to the equinox. And then we have the astrological sign of Aries and what that means to me and how I celebrate the spring equinox. So here I've got a little bit more mythology and folklore and ideas. And then I've got a page where I've just basically been sort of recording my thoughts on the environment and how to practice a more ecologically friendly rituals. So that's where I'm up to now, just filling in some gaps around here with the little diagram where I'm just bullet pointing some ideas and things. Not much else in my grimoire so far. It's still a work in progress. It's still a working book where I sort of develop my ideas and gather my resources and write my rituals. So I hope this has been helpful and interesting to you. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me, what is a grimoire to you? What does your grimoire look like if you have one? Thanks for watching. Bye.